Good evening. Welcome to Fine Print. I'm Molly Gambhir. The 12th of June 2018 was a historic day to say the least. US President Donald Trump did what no other American president had done. He managed to get North Korea's Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un to the talking table. And now the two world leaders are meeting for a second time. The American president used his State of the Union address to announce the dates for meeting his Korean counterpart Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump will be meeting Kim in Vietnam on February 27 and 28. Declaring those dates, Trump added that the U.S. would be at war with North Korea if he wasn't the president. The finer details and the nitty-gritties are still being discussed about which city in Vietnam will host the two leaders, but Hanoi and Da Nang seem to be the front runners for now. The U.S. State Department Special Representative to North Korea, Steve Wion, is heading to Pyongyang. Reports suggest he is likely to press for the North Korean counterpart to attend a series of working-level meetings before that summit. The presidential Blue House of South Korea, which plays a facilitating role between the U.S. and North Korea, has welcomed Donald Trump's announcement.
두 정상은 이미 싱가포르에서 70년 적대의 역사를 씻어내는 첫 발을 뗀 바 있습니다. 이제 베트남에서는 보다 구체적이고 실질적인 진전의 발걸음을 내딛어주기 바랍니다.
While Donald Trump pats himself on the back for what he calls tremendous progress in talks with North Korea, his own intelligence chief told the Congress just last week that they have no reason to believe that Kim Jong-un will give up his nuclear weapons. The U.S. intelligence believes the nuclear program is key to the survival of Kim Jong-un's regime.
We currently assess that North Korea will seek to retain its WMD capabilities and is unlikely to completely give up its nuclear weapons and production capabilities because its leaders ultimately view nuclear weapons as critical to regime survival. Our assessment is bolstered by our observations of some activity that is inconsistent with full denuclearization. While we assess that sanctions on exports have been effective and largely maintained, North Korea seeks to mitigate the effects of the U.S.-led pressure campaign through diplomatic engagement, counter-pressure against the sanctions regime, and direct sanctions evasion.
Since Trump and Kim's first meeting, serious doubts have been raised over whether Donald Trump can get Kim Jong-un to walk the talk. Trump and Kim's landmark summit in June yielded a commitment by Kim to work towards eliminating his nuclear arsenal. But satellite video footage taken since the historic June summit revealed that North Korea has a secret missile base and that it continues to produce nuclear materials at its weapons factories. Just yesterday, a United Nations report said that North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs remain intact. According to that report, North Korea is making sure that its nuclear and military capabilities are not destroyed by military strikes and that Pyongyang is using civilian facilities, including its airport, for ballistic missile assembly and testing. It said North Korea is making sure that its nuclear and military capabilities cannot be destroyed. In August, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, said that it found no indication that North Korea had stopped its nuclear activities. When the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo then visited North Korea in October, Kim Jong-un committed to dismantling and destroying his country's plutonium and uranium enrichment facilities. Kim said that he would do this in return for corresponding measures from the United States. It has repeatedly demanded that the U.S. must reciprocate with measures such as sanctions relief, but Washington has said it is not willing to lift sanctions. Washington has also called for North Korea to take steps such as providing a detailed account of its nuclear and missile facilities that would be inspected and dismantled under a potential deal. Let's go straight across for now to our correspondent, Kate Fisher, who's joining us from Washington, D.C. Kate, a lot of those issues need to be ironed out before the two leaders meet. Donald Trump hopes to extract pledges from Kim Jong-un, he says, without giving too much ground. But North Korea is yet to even declare a list of its weapons facilities or allow independent inspectors, which has been the primary demand that's been made by Washington all this while. How divided are the US government officials on what the expectations are from a second summit?
Well, I think the biggest division can be seen by what the president, Donald Trump, is saying and what his intelligence officials are saying. Donald Trump very clear that he believes that North Korea is no longer a nuclear threat to the world. He believes that there is now peace, now friendship between the two countries, and he believes that North Korea is beginning the denuclearization process. However, just last week on Capitol Hill, his top intelligence officials, the Director of National Intelligence and the head of the CIA, Gina Haspel, gave evidence to the US Congress, telling them that they believe that North Korea still intends to be a nuclear regime. It continues to work on its nuclear program. Gina Haspel, the head of the CIA, saying that they do want to create a long-range missile that would be able to reach the United States. They both said that this has not changed since that Singapore summit with Donald Trump. So there you have the division, the intelligence chief saying that North Korea really hasn't made much progress, whereas the president saying, yes, North Korea has made a lot of progress.
Indeed, and Kate, the US envoy to North Korea will be holding talks this week to finalize the agenda for that second summit. What are you picking up on what Trump's list of demands could look like?
Yeah, well, the Americans have been very clear. They want to see a full declaration of all those nuclear sites in North Korea, and then they want the North Koreans to commit to destroying them, and crucially they want to make sure that there is international observation of that destruction. They want it to be done under supervision so that there is verification that this destruction has happened. So those are the key demands for the United States. North Korea, for its part,
that's, of course, one of the many demands that US President Donald Trump will have. We're going to leave it there for the moment, Kate. Thanks very much indeed for joining us on the broadcast with the latest coming in from there.